Welcome back to the Golden Storyteller. Hi, this is your host Rex, and today we have another episode from our continuing series of shows about golden stories. Yes, this one's kind of a fun one, near and dear. It's a different age that I grew up in, and I want to tell a story about my escapades in my, I think my second business. I was a newspaper boy first, and then I moved into mowing lawns. Well, I grew up in the East Street Historic District in Golden, which is one of the oldest parts of the city. The first homes were built in 1867, so that's actually pretty early when you think that Golden was really established in 1858, 1859 by Tom Golden. The house I grew up in was on the corner of 15th Street at 500 15th Street, and it was built in 1873. So it was a pretty old house. In fact, when I still drive by there, my family lived in that house for nearly 50 years. So it was home for me. Now, I used to mow lawns, and I think I started when I was about 13, in addition to sacking coal, and I'd given up paper routes by then. But that was my business, and being the little entrepreneur that I was back then, I found ways to make some pretty good money, and I got to be pretty aggressive about it, because if I was going to mow lawns, I want to make pretty good money. So back in those days, I had a push lawnmower. I wasn't self-propelled. I had to take my own gas with me because I didn't have a driver's license when I first started. And depicted here, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see I had one of the old weed eater trimmers. Now, it wasn't fancy like this one. This was the original weed eater brand, which were the inventors of the electric and then soon to follow gas trimmers. Then I had a whole array of electrical cords because I didn't want to keep changing locations of cords, and so I generally had at least 2 with me, sometimes as many as 4, depending on the day. So I used to push my mower all over Golden, and in fact, each fall at the end of the season, I actually had to change the tires on the mower because I'd worn the tread off of them. So living on the corner of 15th and East, quite a big hill there as it starts to proceed up from the bottom of 32nd Avenue, which is actually 13th Street. So it goes up that hill there in Golden at the base of South Table Mountain. So this is one of those stories where it's really true that I can claim, well, I pushed my mower uphill both ways, because I really did a lot of times. But I tried to stay in the historic East Street division there. So most of my lawn mowing was from Jackson Street to the north up to the base of South Table Mountain. And that area is a unique area of Golden because not only is it one of the oldest where there were some very prominent homes built, but it was also a mixture of just everyday folks too. My house on 15th and East was actually the home of the gentleman who owned the dance hall at the top of South Table Mountain. But there was also a section on the north, or actually the east side, and not really north side. I'm sorry, I mixed that up. As you head up 19th Street, there was a whole section of homes that had been built as things grew in the 60s, 70s, and then even into the 80s. So I used to push my lawnmower all over town, and I used to cut grass for ridiculous rates compared to what someone would do today. I can remember I had some lawn mowing jobs that were as little as $5. And I had some streets where I had multiple clients. And so I had people who wanted their lawn mowed once a week, some that wanted it every 2 weeks. And I had a map that I had drawn out. You know, we had no smartphones, no tablets, nothing there. I literally had a map drawn out and a list of customers and their date, and it was folded up and stuck in my pocket. Now, I took a water jug with me, which was nothing more great technology than just a plastic water jug. Often I drank out of people's hoses, but a lot of those old hoses kind of had that rubber hose water taste to it, so that always wasn't the best. But I spent my whole day 5 days a week, pushing that lawnmower all over Golden. I had lawns over by the Colorado School of Mines, the Coolidge House, a couple businesses, I had several that were along the way. I mowed the lawn for Bradley, Campbell, and Carney, the law firm that was right there across from the Safeway. Lots of things. But I spent a lot of time mowing lawns. Now, occasionally my parents would help out if they could on lawns that were in other sections of town. I did have a couple lawns that were clear up on the north end of Golden on Ford Street as it gets closer up to Highway 93. But most of my time was spent in the historic East Street district in the town. Lots of great memories of mowing lawns, and I'd come home at the end of the day making $50, $60 every few days, and it was all in cash. So I was feeling pretty fat and happy in those days pushing lawns. And I actually built up some pretty good muscles because I was pushing that mower up those hills at the base of South Table Mountain. So that's my episode today. Just memories of working hard and sweating and making good money and enjoying being outside. Growing up in Golden was a wonderful place to be. And back in those days, we really learned how to work hard because my family didn't really have money. We were fine. We were middle-class folks, but I didn't have money for extra things. So mowing lawns is the way I made it happen for me. So tune in for us next time, and we'll have another edition of The Golden Storyteller. Thank you for joining us for another episode. This has been your host, Rex. We always want to welcome you back to The Golden Storyteller. Well, you can participate with us in many ways, whether it's on YouTube, podcast, or live streaming. And of course, if you've enjoyed the shows, please subscribe now. Thanks again, and tune in for the next episode from The Golden Storyteller, or visit our website at thegoldenstoryteller.com. Make it a golden day.